China, Rare Earths, and the Flawed Logic of U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent by Azlan Adnan, M.A. Saturday, 1st November 2025. When U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent sat down with the Financial Times on the 31st of October 2025, his remarks quickly rippled through global markets. He declared that China had made a real mistake by firing shots in the rare earth sector, a pointed reference to Beijing's threat to limit exports of strategic minerals used in advanced electronics, electric vehicles, and weapons systems. Bessent's interview came amid renewed tensions over technology supply chains and trade dependencies. He described what he saw as an equilibrium between the U.S. and China, an uneasy balance of mutual dependence, and argued that Beijing's rare earth strategy had upset that stability. To him, China's decision to use rare earths as a geopolitical tool would only backfire, motivating the U.S. to find substitutes and diversify its supply sources more aggressively. His rationale. Bessent's reasoning followed a familiar Washington line, that economic deterrence should remain mutually binding. He suggested that by leveraging its near monopoly in rare earths, China had signaled unreliability as a trading partner, thus undermining its own influence. From his perspective, the move would erode investor confidence in China and trigger a flight of capital and innovation elsewhere. He implied that the U.S. now had political cover to accelerate investment in domestic mining and processing, as well as in friendly nations such as Australia and Canada. His comments were designed to reassure American markets, to show that the administration viewed supply disruption not as a threat, but as an opportunity to strengthen self-reliance. Why his reasoning is flawed. The flaw in Bessent's argument lies in its assumption of U.S. readiness. While he framed China's action as a strategic miscalculation, the reality is more complicated. America's dependence on imported rare earths remains substantial. The extraction, separation, and refinement of these elements involve technologies and environmental risks that the U.S. has long outsourced. Building an alternative supply chain is neither quick nor cheap. Even with political will and funding, the infrastructure for refining rare earths cannot be scaled overnight. Beijing's dominance, controlling roughly 70% of global supply, gives it leverage that diversification alone cannot immediately offset. Bessent's portrayal of a U.S. China equilibrium was also misleading. The relationship is asymmetrical. The U.S. depends on Chinese materials for advanced manufacturing, while China's economy is already diversified across global markets. To suggest that both sides stood on equal footing before this episode ignores the structural realities of global trade. Moreover, his framing oversimplifies the nature of economic deterrence. The notion that market confidence alone can neutralize China's strategic advantage underestimates both the depth of China's industrial integration and its ability to adjust export flows toward other partners. While the U.S. can threaten tariffs or subsidies, China can simply redirect direct earth exports to non-aligned countries, preserving demand while still exerting pressure on Washington. Implications for the U.S. economy. By dismissing China's move as a blunder, Bessent risks breeding complacency within American policy circles. His rhetoric may comfort markets temporarily, but it obscures the structural vulnerability that remains. The U.S. faces a multi-year lag before it can secure sustainable alternative sources. While exploration projects in Texas, California, and Wyoming are underway, most lack the advanced refining capacity that China has perfected over decades. A sudden export restriction would still send shockwaves through defense and technology sectors. Bessent's optimism also overlooks the inflationary ripple effect. If rare earths become more expensive due to scarcity or logistics bottlenecks, costs will rise for manufacturers of semiconductors, EV batteries, and renewable energy systems, key pillars of U.S. industrial policy. That in turn could slow investment, delay innovation, and weaken the credibility of Made in America reindustrialization campaigns. His comments, though politically convenient, may therefore encourage underpreparedness. A better approach would have acknowledged the need for pragmatic resilience, recognizing that decoupling from China will require sustained environmental, technological, and diplomatic investment. Conclusion. Bessent's statement was crafted for reassurance, not precision. By framing China's rare earth maneuver as a mistake, he aimed to project confidence in America's strategic independence. But in doing so, he glossed over the fragile foundations of that independence and underestimated the complexities of global resource politics. If the U.S. takes comfort in that illusion, it risks learning the hard way that confidence alone cannot replace capacity. The road to genuine resilience runs not through rhetoric, but through rebuilding what decades of outsourcing have quietly eroded. A heartfelt light. To every soul whose hand did give, you've helped me dream, helped me live. In darkest hours your light came through, with hearts so kind, so pure, so true. Your gifts, like stars in deepest night, have steered me gently toward the light. Each coin, each word, each silent prayer, a thread of hope so rich, so rare. My eyes once dimmed now seek the skies, and slowly clearer visions rise. Because of you, I dare to see the world again. Its grace, its plea. Your compassion's flame will not just stay with me alone. It lights the way for others wandering through despair to feel the warmth of selfless care. You've shown what love in action means, in quiet ways through giving scenes. You've built a bridge from soul to soul and made the broken feel more whole. So let this thanks rise like a song, a melody both soft and strong. May your example gently call more hearts to rise to give. To fall into the joy of lifting pain, of planting hope where none remains. Your kindness walks beside me still, a light, a love, a living will.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to show your support.